Welcome to the Week in Italian Startup, where we discuss the latest highlights happening in the Italian tech and investment ecosystem.
There's a lot of stuff to talk about, so
it's
we better get started.
Last week was insane, between SPACs, huge medtech deal, space startups, a bunch of stuff to really discuss. So let's get going. Let's maybe cover a few of the major news that you mentioned. So I would maybe start with maybe the first three, just a run through, and then we talk about a little bit of Haar, and then we jump toward the end. All right, so in terms of how big of a round, we can start from InnovHeart, Milan-based developer of Transcatheter Mitral Valve Replacement. Very, very technical. I was checking some of the literature. It's definitely something that is it's nice for our friends in Panache, like some health tech investors that can, really get technical into this. It's a huge raise. It's 55 million Series C. And it is what I found particularly interesting was the fact that this round was mixed between equity, upfront licensing fee, milestone payment, and structured royalties for the production of the Saturn, which is the actual device that these guys are producing in China. So it's a mixture. What do you think of that? It's pretty crazy.
Well, if you think that the lead investor is actually a pharmaceutical company that I never heard about because they're Chinese, that sort of makes sense, no? You don't only invest in the equity, but if you believe in the product, you want to take all the rights that you can in order to monetize the investment. So it might make sense, sort of, I believe.
Very interesting. It's a very particular mix, so that was unique, maybe I would say.
I have no idea because, as you know very well, I'm not from the pharma background, so I have no idea whether a late stage deal in the biotech sector involves some kind of mixture between equity, licensing, distribution fees, and stuff like that. I've got no idea. We should call someone on the podcast to explain us how that works.
Totally interesting. Right, jumping on. Another big hitter of last week, Moneyfarm, raising a Series D, 44 million pounds from M&G. So Moneyfarm has been like in a crazy growth strike. This is the latest round, so it's a huge round for them for sure.
And again, this is a mixture between a strategic investor rather than a pure financial investor. Since I didn't know who M&G was, I have to be honest. And it seems it's a big asset manager from the UK. From their description, M&G PLC, they've got 5 million retail customers, more than 800 institutional clients in 28 markets, with 370 billion pounds under management.
Wow.
Not too shabby. So again, there's some strategic partnership here going on. Since Moneyfarm is going to provide the platform and the technology to manage a new offering by M&G. So good deal.
Yeah, I mean, the platform has been growing, 80,000 paying customers, 2.2 billion of pounds under management for Moneyfarm. People talk about it all the time, so I think there is something for sure there to be seen grow in the future.
Well, I'm a customer, I have to admit, and it's extremely easy. It's very well designed. If you look at traditional banking services, even online bank offering some kind of investment robo-advisory, let's say so. I have to say the Moneyfarm is really lean, so I can see the source of the success. Excellent app. Excellent service.
It really speaks to the next generation of retail investors really well. I mean, they just took the best, and the UX is easy, the onboarding is easy. It's a sort of it's a seamless and frictionless process for sure. I don't know about the fee structure because it seems maybe overall a little bit on the expensive side probably, but yeah, given the whole service and given the investor profiling that they do to customers, maybe it's worth it. How are the returns in your experience? Is it been working out decently? It's it's tracking
their management. I've got the parallel pension funds on the service, and it's working. So awesome. It has a good return profile, so it's okay. I mean, it is one of those services where you don't want to think. It's just a safe monthly, very little, very small installment, and you don't want to think about it, and it just works, and that's
fantastic.
That's more than enough for me. I mean, I spend too much time thinking about investments for work.
Exactly. You need some robot doing it for you.
Yes, please.
For your pensions, for future Nicola. Yes, nice, love it. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Apparound. So Apparound is a software company working on a very specific sector, and I'm glad you actually mentioned a very interesting article from Salesforce. It's a CPQ, Configure, Price, and Quote. Those are platforms that essentially streamline all this procedure of building up services and providing a pricing or a quote. And Salesforce has been doing it for many companies in different verticals. These guys are from Italy, and they are also doing it for big corp. And big raise, 10 million from Fondo Italiano di Investimento. So it's again another big announcement from Fondo Italiano. I would say, keeping the strategy up to actually placing bets in very strategic segments. So this is another one.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing more to add here. The interesting bit is the vertical. So this is sales tech, sales automation, which is an interesting area. Historically, in the sales and marketing has been the biggest receiver of innovation, and sales is catching up. This is an interesting example.
Cool, fantastic.
Very good run. Good for them.
Yeah. Let's talk about blockchain. Haar. We talked about Haar a few episodes ago. The zapier of blockchain. So essentially, the company is trying to build infrastructure to make crypto brands talk to each other, so they can actually build different platforms on different environments. Very interesting play. What is interesting is that they secured this 3 million seed funding from some of the major, I would say, blockchain investor. And what I wanted to talk with you is actually this, the raise of the blockchain venture capitalist, which is a very interesting trend. So here we see CoinFund, Edenblock in particular, and then also big hedge fund manager kind of starting to play a big role into the crypto space, like Alan Howard. So yeah, a lot of things happening actually.
Yes, indeed. This is a very broad syndicate investing in this round. Probably at least almost 10 names on the list, and I love one, which is we interviewed. I love the name, and again, you're right. There are some big names here, so we'll see how it goes. But the startup has some traction. Aave, which is one of the most I don't know about the size. I don't follow that area of the FI so closely, but Aave has been gaining a lot of traction lately, and the fact that they are voting to officially add support for Haar on their platform says something about the quality of the interesting aspect that Haar is taking on the blockchain.
Right.
Very good. And they are Italian, and there is an Italian startup on the blockchain. We asked for it, and here it is.
we want to speak with these guys. We need to talk with these guys for sure. Awesome. So just briefly, CoinFund, very interesting way to handle like a VC firm, which is essentially investing in they define themselves as blockchain investors. So based in New York and Miami is being the next big tech space ecosystem on the planet. So we'll see something good happening. And also the other fund is Eden Block, which has a very interesting portfolio. And again, actively investing in disruptor enabled by blockchain technology. Very interesting. Alan Howard, also I didn't know this guy, essentially is launching a 1 billion crypto venture fund. He started his own private crypto asset management firm just to manage his own, little coins here and there. And now they're scaling up to 1 billion. So even more traditional hedge fund managers, they're really into turning into crypto as a full-fledged asset class that they can really deliver returns. And I mean, even though now everything is tanking, there is no doubt that it's something that...
So think about it. I mean, you are a hedge fund manager. You are fighting every day for a couple of basis points on the public markets because everyone is so sophisticated that you have to run after 2 basis points. Then you turn around, you look at the crypto exchanges, and there are people literally exchanging JPEGs for millions, and you're like, oh come on, I know this game.
Exactly, I can do better.
So that's of course they can do better. So I mean, they're going to have a lot of fun on crypto.
Yeah, I'm curious whether
same rules, different players.
Yeah, but add the sophistication of a hedge fund manager into the crypto space, and then some interesting product will come up. So I'm really curious to see what's gonna happen. Very cool. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, let's turn into your deal, Nick, with Primo Ventures. Let's do a little marketing plug. So you guys invested in WordLift, and I found an official declaration from you. So there you go. I did my research, and so tell us more about this deal.
Well, it is a very boring traditional seed stage deal with a very good startup with an excellent funding team. So they are experienced managers, and we work very well together with them. International team actually, because they're also partially from Israel, and they're developing this very good technology for an artificial intelligence powered SEO sale. With a very interesting product based on knowledge graph. So basically, at the end of the day, they improve your positioning. They make your website more readable, more understandable to crawlers and search engines. And at the end of the day, people will find you better. Mm-hmm. They have good international customers, good traction. It was a no-brainer.
It was a good deal. Awesome.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Love it. No, good job, guys. Really, very, very interesting. Like a future of MarTech with some LNP, some natural language processing sprinkles on top of it, so to sweeten the deal. So that's definitely something cool.
Yeah, I mean, SEO has been quite boring in the last few years. Now it was time to freshen it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
beautiful.
I believe they can do it.
Awesome. Happy for you guys. All right, let's go to the big guy over here, DOrbit. What happened here? SPAC deal, about 150 million market cap. DOrbit is going to combine with Breeze Holding, a company which has already been listed and already has cash in reserve, and they're raising essentially different notes. So that's a deal that's going to end up, that's going to be actually concluded between the second and the third quarter. And there you go. We got the unicorn.
Yeah, we have to wait for the deal to close because it will take some time. But apparently, yes, we got the unicorn. So basically, a SPAC, as you know, is a bag of cash waiting for someone to give this cash to. And I believe it should be they're basically around 150 million of cash, sort of around that much. And acquiring apparently, I would say, a minority stake in DOrbit, which will then go public. The stock price of the SPAC on Friday was $10.23, which is above the listing price, which is $10. Every SPAC lists for $10 per stock, which means that probably the market is at least warm about the deal. So they are not dismissing it. They are like, okay. The real trick will be to wait for the deal to actually complete before opening the champagne, because all subscribers of the SPAC have the opportunity to get out of the deal and get their money back. So we have to wait.
No, I mean, also like different players, not just the blank check company, which is about $117 million US. We also have convertible bonds, which will convert in the DOrbit share, about $60 million. And then we have like some unsecured convertible debentures from actually a company called ATW. I was checking some details. So that's the convertible, about that's what it is. And also we have a 5 million pipe, which is sort of a reserved private investing for public equity to reserve to institutional investors. On top of all of that, we have another 114 million essentially in callable warrants that can be actually used. So these can potentially raise even more money through these different tools. So it has a lot of different elements, this pack, but it's super interesting for sure to see. But I agree with you. There is the option of investor to call back the capital. It has been happening last year for a few companies. Not a good sign, unfortunately. But yeah, awesome, definitely awesome.
The warrants in particular should sweeten the deal, because they are basically a call option on the company gaining value. We'll see. The bond was issued not much time ago, so just a few months ago.
Okay.
And among the investors in the bond, there was United Ventures. I would nominate United Ventures as the hero of the week, basically.
Yeah. No, fantastic. Yeah, I was checking some in the presentation from their website. They have a detailed transaction overview, and basically they're gonna offer about more than 1 billion in stock, a newly issued stock. So they would bring the valuation at 1.4. So here, the unicorn. I can see the horn raising up right there. But what I wanted to point out also is some revenue number of the company. I don't know, that was interesting. So, so the figures in revenue for DOrbit that have been disclosed, I think in 2021 they closed at about 3 million euros. But again, probably that's mostly R&D, and then this year is mostly going to be expansion and getting like huge customers in space. And move as fast as possible. I mean, it's very, very interesting what we will see this year for sure in terms of what they probably are planning.
This is a bet on the space economy, which is so it's happening right now, no? So the private investment in the space is a very recent event. DOrbit has been around for quite a while. They are some of the oldest private company in Italy for sure, operating in the space sector, and they've been very resilient, extremely resilient to get to this point. So I think that if they manage to get through the hard times, this is a great moment to have cash, have a product, have actually an ecosystem of products, and have a good positioning to be in the market. So we'll see great things.
Awesome. All right. Moving on, BrumBrum. Let's talk about these guys. Very interesting deal. Kazoo from the UK, car sharing, selling, leasing services, acquired BrumBrum for 80 million euros. Kazoo is not operating in Italy, so it's interesting because that's another way of sort of acquiring a market. I mean, getting a market through acquisition. And I was also checking, Kazoo also went public through SPAC last year. And same kind of dynamics. It was a way bigger SPAC. It was a 7 billion SPAC merger with already about almost 1 billion, about 800 million in the blank check company, Ajax, and then other 800 million fully committed by private investors in a PIPE deal. Again, PIPE are becoming extremely popular. I don't know if, that would be interesting to see, like how exactly they've been becoming popular. I think there is a regulation issue for which they're a little bit less sort of overlooked in terms of public regulations, but yeah, it's definitely something to go deeper into and see.
Yeah. I believe the SEC is not the fan of SPACs, so
yeah,
for sure because there are a way to go around a lot of the regulation for IPOs. Because when you IPO, when you list a SPAC, you can say whatever you want because there is nothing, so it's an empty box. Pipes basically jump on any roadshow, regulation, whatever. You know, they're big investors that are just sitting on the side and committing to the round where the SPAC finds the target.
Yeah. I mean, they get a discount and they just say yes, and then there you go. They have some lockup period, which I don't think is too long. I think is just several months. It's not huge. So probably institutional are also playing it as a bet, kind of a safe bet in a way. And then playing the fact that, after tendentially 6 to 12 months, post-IPO prices start really collapsing if that's the case, or they hold. So they might play this kind of game. Very interesting.
Yeah, but back to Kazoo, what hits me a lot is like, they're missiles. They launched in 2018.
Oh wow!
So, and in 4 years they got here. So they made 9 acquisitions so far, an IPO, a listing. They're going like crazy, taking over Europe.
Wow!
So probably just a piece in their puzzle.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Interesting. I would be curious to see who are the original backers for the first investors in Kazoo, because that's maybe some big car manufacturing company also through holdings and things, because sound like these guys are playing their cards like very, very well.
Let me quickly check who was the seed investor. Stride VC. Wow. And then DMG Ventures.
DMG, okay.
Congrats to Stride. And then came the big guns a couple of years later.
I see.
Octopus Ventures, Stride, DMG Ventures. Well, Octopus, they are very good.
Yeah.
And CercaOfficine.
Beautiful.
Well, tier 1 investors for crazy startup.
Awesome.
Nice.
A spaceship for sure. All right. 2.5 billion.
And just to point out, United Ventures was an investor in BrumBrum.
Okay, cool.
And just to close the loop, United Ventures is an investor in Moneyfarm.
Wow, these dudes also.
And there's one more.
Okay, tell us.
United Ventures is an investor in Faceit.
My God,
and
last
Faceit
week
is the next. News.
Yeah, I mean, for them last week was insane. These guys are partying. These guys are partying hard for sure. All right, let's talk about the merger of ESL and Faceit. I didn't go too deep onto that, so Nick, yeah.
Well, this is an Italian deal so far as United Ventures is an investor in Faceit, and CEO and founder of Faceit is an Italian guy, but the company is actually a UK corporation. And the two, ESL Gaming and Faceit, are basically esports platforms.
Okay.
So we are into the gaming world. What happened is that this group, which I didn't know about, backed by the Saudi government, Saudi funds, acquired both players for a combined $1.5 billion.
Wow.
And it seems that they paid Faceit $500 million.
Wow, awesome.
So they created this huge platform for esports. And yes, I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
From the article, the same fund who's backing the acquirer was the same that purchased the Newcastle United, the Premier League football team. So they're investing heavily in esports. I mean, these words are basically converging into one and the same.
So it's the future of sports, which being it physical and digital, it's really the blending.
Yes.
Very cool. All right, coming back to Italy, another 2.5 billion for CDP Ventures for startups and like small and medium-sized companies. So CDP has been seeding capital in a lot of different situations. They're also trying to play in the VC space by actually financing also operators in the sector, so funds, first-time funds, etc. So I mean, they're pushing. These guys are pushing hard.
Yeah, in this case, it is the government who is basically assigning new resources to CDP. As I said, including resources from the PNRR, the recovery and relaunch plan from the COVID, the one that was approved by the European Commission by Europe a few months back. And again, well, a huge amount of capital is coming to the Italian ecosystem.
Awesome.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens for sure. Okay, last and not least, marketing plug for you, Nick. So you've been involved in Ernst Young events regarding the status of venture capital. So it's called the EY VC Barometer for 2021. Very curious to see what they're gonna say. Let's use the material to do a full session on that. That would be cool. But yeah, so your event is gonna be February 8th, 2022 at 4 p.m. Italy time, and yeah, we'll involve a bunch of great people, essentially discussing about the status of VC in Italy. So that's cool. That's really cool.
That's right. I will actually talk about exits. Because I mean the report mostly talks about investments, and you know we know about them, so we've been talking about them for the last few months. And I will particularly talk about the exit that happened in 2021. Even though already I think there is a lot of material to talk about 2022, but probably next year. Right.
Awesome. All right. Nick, again, thank you very much, and thank you for everybody's listening. This is the Week in Italian Startup. We're live on YouTube, and the recording of this will be on YouTube, and we're live every Monday also on Clubhouse. Also, the recording is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and all the great podcasting platform. So with that said, Nick, thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Jack. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.